All right, everybody, what is going on? In the spirit of there not being much to do on Dokkan right now, listen, we were having a little fun last night, and I decided to just do a little thread on my hot takes. I'm putting that in air quotes. You guys can't see it, but my hot takes here for Dokkan. Most of these are not going to be very scorching hot. I'm not a big baiter. I'm not one of these guys that just gets out here and just says something crazy like, oh, you know, like AGL Vegito Blue is actually like the best unit. I'm not that kind of guy. So most of these comments are things that I actually I don't know, actually believe. And again, most of these are probably just points that people say on a regular basis, but I don't know, I've captured all my thoughts here in a thread. So we're going to read over it, and we're going to see what I said last night. So let's go ahead and go over this. Again, these aren't actually going to be very hot, but, you know, make your own thread and, you know, see what people think about it. All right, so number one we have right here, and don't read ahead, guys. Don't spoil yourselves. The Dokkan community was more fun on Reddit. The Twitter community is an echo chamber of stale opinions. So was the Reddit, but it was funnier. You had to be there. Yeah, I don't know how to describe this one to you guys, but if you were on Reddit between like the second and I don't know, 6th or 7th anniversary, like that period of Dokkan was just like so funny, man. The amount of drama that happened and came from the Reddit was just like hilarious. And it like, I don't know, you had to be there. Like you had to be there whenever, like, who was it? Vinny? Like Vinny Bones or whoever was like, you know, boxing truth on Twitter or on Reddit. That was just good times. So, I mean, this is nothing. This is just funny. Anyway. The 2023 worldwide celebration was a major fumble. It was a really short high. Felt great at the moment. Once the post-nut clarity set in, it turns out that the red zone was bad. The units weren't designed well, and the entire thing felt poorly planned and rushed. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to say I agree with this. Yeah, I do agree with me, a little sauced up here. It definitely, like, you know, at the time we're like, oh man, there's like a ton of content. There's a ton of free-to-play units. Like, they're giving us a ton of EZAs. There's a lot of stuff going on. Like, we were all like, oh man, this is great, you know, because we got like we got the Divine Wrath and Mortal Will event. We had the new Red Zone stages. But really, when it came down to it, it's like we just kind of got like the same fight 10 times. Like, there wasn't really anything special about any of the fights that they gave us, which made it feel stale. Versus now we can see like the 9th anniversary, where clearly that's where all the dev time went, was making all of those different fights. And you could tell that, like, I mean, every single one of those fights feels a little bit different. You have Trunks, who is just like, he's kind of like a short fight, and he's just like an obliterator. You have like the Gogeta fight, which is like a longer fight. You know, you've got just all these different fights going on right now. On like JP Dokkan, right? And they all feel a little bit different. You have the boss rush, which is like really the longest fight in the game, basically. I'm trying to think of the other like major fights. You have like the Beast Gohan fight, who is again like a shorter fight, but he's like kind of scripted. You have the like Piccolo and Gohan like movie memorial. Like, we just got so many events for the 9th anniversary that whenever you look back at like the worldwide celebrations, like, man, we really didn't get a whole lot. And the stuff that we did get was like very copy and paste. And then you start looking at like the quality of the units released, and it's like, okay, Trunks is not very good. I mean, you guys know I've never been a big fan of that Trunks. He's just like not designed well. He's not good for short content, and he's not good for long content. So it's like, I don't really know what he's good for. And then like everybody's animations just felt rushed and copy and pasted. I mean, you know, everybody complained about the intros on like the part 1 Dokkan Fests because they're just too short, right? I mean, nobody really liked the Blue Goku and Vegeta animations. I mean, I always thought that they were fine, but you could definitely tell that it's just like, compared to a lot of the other animations that we've gotten from premium units, they were, you know, on the lower end of animations. Because, like, even the worldwide celebration units from the Cooler movie celebration, you know, their animations were awesome. It was just that the units weren't designed well. So it was kind of, well, I don't even know if I want to say that the units were designed well during the worldwide celebration last year. Yeah, I don't know. It's just like, and then we ended up like not getting the Rosé. We got like the LR Rosé, but that's not really what we needed. You know, we needed a new Dokkan Fest Rosé to help out. And I get that they're giving us this, well, the Dokkan Fest LR Rosé is what I mean, or like a Carnival Rosé. And they've given us a Dokkan Fest Rosé, but if we had like a transforming one from base form to Rosé, That would have been better. And then of course the Int Goku Black fumble, the base form one. I mean, that's just, I mean, that's felt now. You know, it's like if he was just awesome, you know, or at least just semi-runnable, you know, that would help out the Super Bosses team. So yeah, I'm not a big fan looking back on it on the worldwide celebration. So let me know what you guys think. But I tend to think that this is being a more and more popular opinion. It's like as we look back at this, it's like, man, like the content actually wasn't super great. The units weren't really great. The animations weren't very great. Like I don't know. I don't know. Oh, this next one. Yeah, the Dokkan Battle UI is in a terrible state and needs to be addressed. I really hate how bosses have a huge string of immunities and 50 pop-ups and you load into a fight showing their abilities. Just get rid of all that and put it in the details screen whenever you click on them. Adding to the previous point, boss HP, attack, and defense should be displayed as part of their boss character screen. No reason to hide that data from the players. Yeah, I mean, these two obviously go together. And I just really hate, like, how fights play out now. I don't know about you guys, but bosses have way too many pop-ups. Like that's like issue number 1 actually, is you load into a fight. I always think about the during the worldwide celebration with the metal cooler celebration, we had that fight against like the 10 metal coolers and they were all like immune to everything and we had a pop-up for every single one of them. Do you guys, for those of you who played during that time, do you guys remember how long it took just to like mash through all of those pop-ups? Like that is insane. You know, they finally made it so that our characters, because you used to have to do that for your characters as well. If I went back to like a truth video from, I don't know, 2017, right, we could probably pull that up. But you used to have to mash through all of your characters' abilities as well. And it's like they realized, oh, hey, it's taking way too long to get into battle because we're having to mash through all these character abilities. And so they condensed the player ones. The player ones now are just one pop-up. You get one pop-up. I think you still get it, of like all of your character abilities, they all like pop up or whatever, I think. Does that still happen actually? I think it does. But it used to be a pop-up for each individual character, so like you would seriously be mashing forever to get through like all those screens, just so it's like, okay, just let me pick my orbs and play the game. It's like, I get it, he's immune to everything, you know, I can see it, and now it's like even more apparent because like the boss has the entire string of immunities up there. It looks really bad in like Super Battle Road or multiple enemy fights now. Because you know, you click on the character and they have this huge string of immunities going across the screen. Like, I hate that so much. It's like we have the character's detail screen. If you guys don't know, you can like click on a character in the top corner or whatever, and if you like hold on it, it'll just show you like, okay, they're immune to this, they're immune to this, they cancel your dodging, and they heal. Like they show you all that information up there in the corner if you click on the screen. I don't know why they can't just keep it all there. It's like if players want to click on it, they can, you know? Like there's no need to like display all that information. I don't know. Like it's just clunky and it's messy and I don't like it. So yeah, I definitely think, first of all, we need to get all the boss abilities. If we're gonna have it pop up whenever they load into battle, can we get it all on like one pop-up? So it's like, okay, boss character abilities, you can read it, click. You know, your character abilities, you can read it, click. Like, and then you're done, right? And then if you want to see it again, you click on the character screen in the top left and it displays everything. And then in addition up there, because if you guys click on that box up there and it pulls down the character abilities, it's so blank. Like the boss info up there, it's so like there's a ton of empty space where they could add like the boss HP, attack, and defense. I don't see any reason why they can't give us these stats. I mean, maybe they want it to be ambiguous because they don't want you to know like how like much defense you need to like tank a boss, but I mean, you're still asking players to have to like calc their own defense. So I don't know. I feel like just giving us these stats is good, and they should do that. But let me know what you think. Let me know what you guys are feeling about this point right here. Like, am I alone on an island thinking that the Dokkan Battle UI is just not good at the moment? Like, they keep making updates to it, and I feel like there's just too many pop-ups, there's too many things, you know? I don't really like how it feels right now going into battle, but you guys can let me know what you think. All right, I kind of like that we have new summon animations for Big Celebration. I think that's more fun than the standard summon animation update. Not really hot, but Dokkan should add a 500 stone summoned option to every banner. So yeah, this is kind of like 2 points right here. I think it's fine if they're not going to give us just standard animation updates. It kind of is what it is. What they really should do is just give us a summon skip button, and then it doesn't even matter what summon animations they give us, right? Like, who cares at that point? Because I'll just mash through every summon that I ever do. But I do like that they are, you know, recognizing like, hey, we don't just want to see these same animations over and over and over and over for like the past, oh goodness, when did the current summon animations, I was still in college whenever they came out. Because I remember they released that like ticket banner or whatever. Like they gave everyone tickets and like, oh, go try out the new summon animations. And a lot of people got LRs. I remember I got LR physical trunks off of the new summon animation banner whenever they dropped those. So when was that? That would have been like 2018? 18, 19, I can't remember, but it probably was 18. So we've had these summon animations for like, you know, 6 years now or something. That is crazy. That is crazy. So yeah, definitely we could just see more, but I do like how they're kind of compensating for it. They're like, all right, we're not just going to give you a standard new animation update. They are kind of rolling them out with big celebrations. So, you know, we had like the superhero summon animations. We had the Future Saga ones. This last were like worldwide. So I do like that they're doing that. So I think that's kind of like a nice compromise. But oh, and then the 500 stone summon option, like this would be great. Like if I could just burn 500 stones at once, that would be awesome. You know, of course it'd feel pretty bad to get like super shafted, but you know, instead of having to go through, you know, 50 stones at a time, 50 stones at a time, 50 stones, it's just like summoning takes way too long. So if I could just burn 500 at a time and then just like mash through them, that would be ideal for me. But let me know what you guys think about these two options right here. Oh, Dokkan content creators not knowing how to how calculations work and spreading false information creates this really annoying echo chamber throughout the community. But I don't blame them. You shouldn't need to bust out Excel to calculate a unit's defense. Yeah, so this again is like kind of two parts. I'm kind of like calling out. I'm not really calling out Dokkan creators right here. I'm more just like talking about how annoying it is to you know, go to like a comment section or go to Twitter and like see people like, oh, this unit is like massively underrated. Like they're getting up to, you know, 5 million defense and like this and that. And people think that's not good, you know, and like people like just seeing that all the time is just annoying to me. And a lot of the times, you know, they get that from just like, you know, content creators is like they're kind of like, you know, parroting stuff that they hear. It's like, oh, you know, they're at 1 million defense and they get 150% on super attack. So we're going to be at like, you know, 3 million defense whenever after we super attack. It's like, well, no, actually the 150% from their super attack adds, you know, into the same phase 2 as like they're on hit buffs. So it's not actually a direct 2.5 multiplier. It's actually like you have to divide out the original, you have to add them together and then you multiply. People who know what I'm talking about know what I'm talking about. But it just like this isn't what I'm really getting at here is not Dokkan content creators in like the community. I'm really getting at like the true point of this right here is Dokkan not like showing us defensive stats. It's definitely something that they need to figure out a way to show us this information, because if, you know, players could just see this, it would definitely be better. I don't know the best way to display it. If you would just put it under the attack stat, if you could just, you know, work it into the like display somewhere. I don't know the best way to show this. I don't have a solution for how they could show this. I think Greg, if you guys are familiar with Greg, let me see if I can pull up his stuff real quick. Hang on. All right, so I found again, here's Greg's info. Oh, you can't see my mouse, but here's like Greg's Twitter and everything right here. But you can kind of see like he's like I don't know if he's modded it or how exactly he's done this, but in his setup he's kind of had it displayed like this, so it shows like attack and then like defense under it, so you can kind of see the stat. I don't know if this would be the best way to do it, just because sometimes this information is just on the screen for not a very long time. So I don't know if this is something Dokkan would do, because this is just like a lot to take in, like whenever you see this. But at least it would be on the screen if they did something like this, right? Like I don't know that this would be like the worst way to show it. So, you know, you could see right here, it's like, oh, okay, you know, he's up to what is this, 3,258,834 or 834 defense, right? That's like, this is better than not being able to see it at all. But I don't know if this is how I would prefer to see it. I don't know. But you guys, like, this is definitely something they need to figure out how to do, is show us the defensive stat. And then that in conjunction with giving us the ability to actually see boss stats in game, it just, like, I don't know, it leads to players being able to make better decisions and enjoy the game more, I think. You know, it's like, you wouldn't have to be like, you know, oh, is this character going to be tanky enough to eat it? It's like, well, you know, you'll be able to use them, actually know what their defensive levels get up to, and you'll be able to make informed decisions in the moment whenever you're going through things. So anyway, but yeah, so shout out to Greg. That's just like one solution for how to display this. It's like they need to figure out a way for us to be able to see defensive stats. And that's really what I'm getting at here. This first part is more of, I guess, like the hot take of just like, this is annoying. But the true thing down here, this is like the true point. So Battlefield is the best game mode to gauge how good your account is. It is a true test of the depth of your box and requires the most investment to your characters in order to succeed. Yeah. Oh, you know, by the way, I know we're already like majorly through this video here, but we can zoom in a little bit. So yeah, I mean, this I think is true. Battlefield is the best game mode to gauge how good your account is, because, you know, you could just summon on one banner, like the anniversary banner each year, build up like a superhero team or whatever the, you know, anniversary category is for the year, and then you're just going to pretty much be able to sweep everything, like all content for the rest of the year. Like, I mean, that's just kind of how it works, right? This year especially, the superhero team is not falling off anytime soon. So, like, if you summon for the 9th anniversary and you get Gogeta, and you get Beast, and you get Broly, and you get Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken and Evolution Blue Vegeta, you get UI Goku, Evolution Blue Vegeta, you get all these characters, you know, you're just going to be in a really, really good spot with your account and being able to clear content. But if that's all you have is, like, those, you know, 8-10 characters or something like that, you're not going to be able to beat Battlefield. So that's where I'm saying, like, Battlefield is the true test of, like, how big is your box and how much, like, time and investment have you put into it. You know, have you link leveled all of your characters? Have you, you know, rainbowed all your characters? Have you grinded up all the free-to-play units? Have you just, like, put skill orbs? Have you put Elder Kais into your units? You know, all that different stuff. That's where Battlefield really shows, you know, how good your account is there, because it's not one unit that you need. It's not 2. It's not 10. You know, you need like, what, 100 units basically to go into Battlefield and win. I think it's like 7 minimum, or 70 minimum is how many that you need, right? I think, because it's 10 teams, it's 10 fights, and then you have to bring 7 units into each one. So you need a minimum of 70 units, good units, to be able to compete in Battlefield. So that's where I'm kind of getting at with this. You know, it's like Red Zone is not the ultimate test of how good your account is. It's really Battlefield. And with them kind of bringing Battlefield up to the current meta, like the fights, you know, like Metal Cooler and everything, and like these third stage fights really feel like they're on par with the current meta now. This Battlefield is really the test of how good your account is, I think. So next up, we have Chain Battle. Chain Battle was really fun and an engaging mode. I was always delighted to participate in Chain Battle each celebration and reap huge rewards for my account. I love scrolling through all my friends' scores and seeing how everyone was performing. I mean, yeah, that's pretty self-explanatory. I love Chain Battle. I think a lot of the issues with Chain Battle arose because people did not take the time to understand how the game mode worked. And I'm not saying that, you know, you should have to go out of your way to understand it, but there were a lot of people who were just content to say, nope, this is trash, it sucks. And it's like, okay, well, have you, you know, tried it? It's like, nope, I haven't. I have not. And it's like, okay, well, you know, here's an entire community at your fingertips. Like, if you're on Twitter, you know, complaining about Chain Battle not being explained enough, the problem's on you. You know, if you're like a player, like, if you are not part of, like, the Twitter, Reddit communities, right? Like, you're just, like, a casual Dokkan enjoyer. You play it on your phone. You maybe watch a few, like, YouTube videos here and there. But you're not, like, super in tune to the community. Then, yeah, I could see where someone like that could be like, man, I really can't compete in Chain Battle. But anybody who is part of, like, this online community that we have here has, like, no right to say, like, oh, it's just, like, it's... You know, there's no way to figure out how to play, and I can't find any friends. It's like, no, you could have very easily. They were all advertised right here for you. There was a giant community dedicated to helping people get, like, you know, like really high scores. It's like we had Piccolo making really good charts. We had Misaka's charts too. We had the DBC community. We have Piccolo's community. It's like we had several communities out there. There were threads on Reddit where people were helping people out. On Twitter, people would help people out. Like, Chain Battle really brought the community together in a lot of ways, which I think is awesome. It created a lot of community engagement. And I think community engagement is one way to keep players interested in your game. So this is definitely, what do I want to say? Again, I guess what I'll say is, like, if you are on the Twitter community, I don't want to hear it. Like, if you're like, I didn't understand it, it's too hard, you know, it's like, I couldn't figure it out, whatever, like, and, you know, another thing people have to remember is that it was, like, a tier-based ranking system, so not everybody is going to be able to get the top 1% rewards, but even the rewards throughout the lower tiers were all very, very good for the amount of time that you had to put into it. I mean, I don't think anybody's arguing against that. I think everyone agrees that the rewards were, like, universally insane, and is much better than what we have now. But yeah, I found it, you know, whenever I say engaging, I don't necessarily mean the gameplay. I more mean of, like, the community engagement and involvement. I love talking with the community and, like, getting their thoughts on, like, you know, like, how is the chain battle going? You know, how are you getting top 1%? You know, are you finding, you know, different strategies? It's like, you know, sometimes we'd have, like, the initial charts, and it's like, okay, but then, like, once the, you know, once the actual like mode got pushed out in game, it was like, oh, they, you know, changed up the formula, and actually it's like these characters are going to be better than what we initially thought. And just kind of like seeing that process break down with the people who kind of know how to calculate and figure that stuff out, and then like the people who have really good, like, perfect friends list to be able to go in and like test out and see which scores are getting higher. Like, that kind of engagement, like the community engagement, I think is just as important as being engaged with the actual gameplay itself. So while, like, the gameplay is not, like, you know, oh, like, super involved, it's the community engagement side that I thought was really important to Chain Battle. So not just, like, I'm just repeating myself, but not just the actual gameplay and, you know, going in and selecting your, you know, 10 characters and picking the bars until they fill up. Like, you know, that's whatever. I'm focusing more on, like, the community engagement side of things. So let me know what you guys think about Chain Battle, and if you are happy it's gone, if you are sad it's gone, or if you're just kind of like neutral, like, you know, some people are like, oh, you know, it's great that they took it out because it shows that they listen to feedback. And it's like, I don't know that that's true. Because we've been giving them feedback on a lot of other things, and they do listen to it. Like, we already know that they listen to feedback. I think it's interesting that they decided to remove Chain Battle. My running theory is Omatsu never got top 1%, and because he couldn't figure out his own mode. And so that's why they took it out. But yeah, I don't know. I just... The community engagement that was created as a result of Chain Battle was awesome, and I feel like we've lost a lot of that now, so... I don't think World Tournament needs a revamp as much as a reward structure for locals, or as much as the reward structure for locals does. So what I'm saying here is, I don't think the gameplay itself needs a revamp as much as the rewards do. If the rewards for World Tournament were, like, better than Chain Battle, you know, I don't think people would complain about the mode as much and be like, yeah, I'm having to grind my ass off for a whole ass weekend, but at least I'm getting showered in rewards. Right now, it's like you grind out 3 days of World Tournament, and it's like, oh boy, I got 1 copy of the Pilaf Gang. They're gonna age out, and actually they aged out on release. Like, you know? So let's say, like, how would I restructure the World Tournament rewards? I would say that if you get first place local, you should just get 5 copies of the LR. Like, you should be able to rainbow them instantly. Second and third should get, like, 4 copies. Or, well, maybe you give, like, first place, like, 10 copies. That way they can, like, save on Elder Kais or something like that. And then, like, second and third also get the rainbow. So they get 5 copies. And then you give, like, 4th through 10th, like, they get 4 copies or something. Then you give, like, 10th through 20th, like, you know, 3 copies. That way it's just like, okay, you know, the people who really grinded, and you know, tried their best in World Tournament, you know, they're still being rewarded. They're getting the LRs, and then also just bump up like the general rewards. It's like give them more orbs, give them more everything. Like first place local, you should be getting the rewards equivalent of like getting top 1% in chain battle. You know, if you're getting showered just like skill orb equipment, skill balls, and you know, orbs of every typing, and like 10 Elder Kais of, you know, and stickers and everything else, and 5 copies of the new LR. It's like, okay, wow, yeah. It's like my grind was actually worth it. And then if you bump up those second and third place rewards too, for, you know, occasionally, everyone's had it happen, right? Where you grind your ass off in World Tournament, and then you look in front of you and it's like, oh, there's a top 50 player in my bracket. Like, there's no chance that I'm beating him because I have to go to work, right? Or I have to, you know, sleep or eat, or, you know, go to the bathroom or something, right? Like, you know, I have to shower, unlike this person who's going to do a 72 hour straight live stream on YouTube or something, you know, like, of course I'm not going to beat that person. So that's where it's like, you know, but you know, I did get second, but, you know, I still got a really high score and I still get like a ton of rewards. I just think that would be a much better structure than what we have currently, where it just, man, it feels like you put in so much time in the World Tournament and you get piss all. Like, you get nothing for the amount of time that you put in the World Tournament. And especially with a lot of the Easy A's being terrible. You know, a lot of the World Tournament Easy A's have just been horrendous. I haven't done, like, any of them. I'll probably do Mr. Boo because he's, like, the first one in a long time that's actually, like, really good. We kind of started it out strong, right? We had, like, World Tournament Piccolo, who was, like, insane. And then since then, it's just been, like, not great. I think the only ones that I've done are the ones that were needed maybe for Chain Battle. I easy ate them just to get the boost for Chain Battle. But other than that, I haven't, like, easy ate any of the World Tournament characters. So it's just like, I'm saving them in the event that they... I don't want to, like, easy ate them as they're coming out. And it's like, okay, well, they suck, you know? Like, I don't want to do that. So I'm just saving my medals for whenever we get actually good ones like Mr. Boo in the future. That way, it, you know, hopefully they improve the easy A's and make them better, and then I have medals to actually get the good ones, as opposed to the ones that are just like, who cares? Like, they were trash before, you easy ate them and they're still trash. Like, thanks. Good job. You know, so... That's my thing with World Tournaments. Like, I wouldn't mind grinding it if my time was being rewarded. I don't feel like my time that I'm putting into World Tournament is being rewarded, so... all Dokkan Fest releases should feel like the best unit in the game. I'm not saying they should be the best unit in the game, but every Dokkan Fest should feel like the best unit in the game. We should never be like in a Rosé situation where they come out and it's like, you know, maybe he's like top 7... Dokkan Fest, you know, like top 50 overall in the game. Like, we should be like, oh man, Rosé just came out on JP. He feels like a top 2 unit in the game, you know? Like, we should be feeling like that as we get new releases. You know, people be like, power creep. It's like, no, getting good units does not advance power creep. Them releasing difficult events is what releases power creep, so... which they're going to do that like every 6 months, basically, regardless. You know, every year on Worldwide and on Anniversary, that's where you can expect your power creep jumps a little bit. And your really good characters like Beast Gohan will survive it. And your, you know, borderline weak characters that were not performing as well, they will not, so... All right, sorry, I had to restart the music there. Hopefully the music's not too loud. Maybe it's not loud enough, who knows? But... yeah, so that's point number 1, is that all Dokkan Fest releases should feel like the best unit in the game. And then also, we should receive 2 to 3 new banner units per release as well. So, most new banner unit... so most new banners are new units, yeah. So that way, you know, that really benefits people like me, where it's like I have most everything, you know, rainbowed at this point, so... you know, anytime I'm summoning, it's basically just for the new characters. But if there were just more new characters on new banners, that would be good for me, because it would mean that I'm actually getting value whenever I'm summoning. So that's not going to be a lot of, you know, that's not going to be a issue that a lot of people have, but I would just like to see that. And then it would also give them, you know, the opportunity to buff up whatever new unit that they're releasing. You know, who cares that we already have a bunch of base form Zamasus in the game? And even if it meant that they had, like, cheaper animations on the banner units, I think I'd be fine with that. You know, if we just got, like, a, you know, Zamasu with, like, a 2018, what are they, like, the Divine Slice or whatever they call it, that's fine as long as he's designed to help out the new Dokkan Fest. Like if Rose had dropped, you know, he dropped with like Trunks, right? But if he had dropped with like a base form Zamasu and like a Zamasu Goku, if he had dropped with those two as his banner units, you know, and they were directly like Super Bosses buffers or like Rainbow Orb changers, or just in some way helped him and the Super Bosses team, you know, if they were just like, oh, one of them is a slot 1 guarding tank, and then the other one is a Rainbow Orb changer who's good as a slot 3 floater, you know, that helps out Super Bosses a ton, fills out his category, and it makes him feel like a more cohesive unit. It's like, okay, I got him, I got the 2 banner units, I can fill in with other, you know, Super Bosses that they've released this year, and then they're going to release an EZA, and it's like suddenly the team just feels a whole lot better than if you just release Rose on his own and a Trunks banner unit who does nothing for anybody. That Trunks banner unit is worthless. What is the point of him? I haven't even done a showcase on him. I think I have him rainbowed or at 90%, but it's like, where am I going to show him? Who cares? Like, who cares about that Trunks? He's not helping anything. He's like locked to time travelers. It's either time travelers or future, both of which are dead teams. And it's just like, who is he helping? What is his purpose, you know? Banner units' purpose, their purpose should be to help the main Dokkan Fest. I've always said this. And we should get at least 2 of them per banner. You know, there should always be, you know, like Ginyu released with Rakumen Goldo and Jason Birder, and they directly helped Ginyu, and that made his team feel cohesive. And it felt like you could actually use him and work with him. Every Dokkan Fest banner should feel like that. It's like, you know, would you rather have an extra banner unit on the banner, or would you rather have AGL Bardock? Like, who cares about AGL Bardock, you know, or like Tech Kale and Caulifla? Like, nobody cares about them. They always throw some like shitty 7th unit on banners. What is the purpose of that? Just make a new unit. I get that there's budgets and time and, you know, resource allocation. I get that, but also like, I don't know. Anyway, to go into the next point, adding a bunch of new banner units would start to really dilute that unfeatured pool. So to compensate for that, what they should also do is they should curate the unfeatured pool on banners to buff the category that's being released, or buff the units that's being released. You know, we don't need to put the 1974 AGL Goku from the Hero and Villain Extermination event on every banner unfeatured. I get that there's characters who don't have them, and maybe there's players that don't have them, and maybe somebody could benefit from it, but like, I would be very happy if they started shrinking the unfeatured pool and just kind of like throwing units on there that are going to help it out. So like with Rose, if they were just like future time traveler, what else? Like Super Bosses and Corroded Body and Mind. You put like those 4 categories unfeatured on Rose's banner, or maybe you just do like all extreme units or something like that. I don't know. But you do something like that to where it's like, okay, you know, even if you're getting an unfeatured unit, hopefully they're helping you team build towards, you know, surrounding this character with units that they need. You know, you're not just like suddenly picking a needle out of a haystack, right, to get the one unfeatured unit that's going to help you. Just like, for example, like whenever they released Tech Bardock, right? And then they released, I think they had released the fascia before Tech Bardock, the physical fascia. Like if physical fascia, like if the Team Bardock squad and like physical fascia and like, I don't know, just like pure Saiyans and low-class warriors were unfeatured on like Tech Bardock's banner instead, and you had just like a better chance of getting that physical fascia who you needed to like fill out Bardock's team. That would be much better than trying to get her out of like I don't know how many characters are in the unfeatured pool now. We'll just say 2,000, right? It's like you have like a 1 in 2,000 chance of getting, you know, physical fascia unfeatured, right? Versus if they shrank that pool down to like 1 in 50, you've got a much better chance of getting her now, and she's actually going to help you with Bardock's team building, right? So that's kind of what I'm thinking around that idea. Is like, you know, we don't need... again, like STR Majub on every banner unfeatured, right? Like we don't need AGL Super Vegeta, even though he is pretty decent after his EZA. Like we don't need all these characters unfeatured on every single banner. We can kind of curate the banners to actually support the character that's being released, is my idea behind that. So all premium units released in a year should be graded on the same standard. This is an old unit, so they get a pass theory is bogus. If an EZA releases in 2024, it's a 2024 unit now and should be held to that standard, especially because many old units don't return. Yeah, so what I'm getting at here with this is whenever people talk about like, oh, you know, like I don't know, physical Goku Black, like, man, for a super easy A, you know, he's been in the game since this long. A lot of players are going to have him. You know, he's pretty good for what we can expect, right? I don't really like that. To me, it's like, okay, no, they're modernizing his kit to be a 2024 release. We need to treat him on 2024 standards. If you don't want to hold him to, like, the Beast Gohan standard, I think that's fine. But don't be like, oh, he's old, so actually he's pretty good now. It's like, well, no, they're giving him a modern kit for a modern era. Like, that's what they're doing. And with a character like Physical Goku Black, who hasn't been on a banner since, I mean, I don't know the last banner he was on. Like, other than maybe like a New Year's step up, he probably hasn't been on a banner since like 2018 or 2019. Who knows? Somebody can look that up and let me know when he was last on a banner. So it's like, no, most players are not going to have them. We have a ton of players come in each year. We have players leave. And the chances that, like, I don't know, any player that joined starting from like the 4th anniversary up has this guy is very low, I think. Like, he probably hasn't been on a banner since, like, he got his Easy A, probably. So just saying, like, oh, yeah, a lot of people are going to have this character. I don't think that's necessarily true. And so acting like, oh, this is just like a free unit everyone's getting is not really true. I mean, you see people all the time who have been semi-long-term players posting and being like, oh, you know, I've only ever had this guy with like 1 dupe or 0 dupes, or, you know, I've got him at 55%. It's like these characters are being balanced around, like, obviously, like, Rainbow. I mean, that's how every character's kind of balanced, but I just don't like this line of thinking of like, oh, this is an old unit, so we got to give them a pass. Like, actually, they're, you know, they're bad, but they're actually, compared to what they were, they're pretty good. It's like, you know, they're either good or bad. Like, let's not like split hairs to like cope for units that are bad. I'm not talking about like physical Rose or physical Goku Black being bad. I think physical Goku Black is like he's any unit that requires me to run an entire specific team around them to get their full kit out of them, I don't like. And then any unit that needs to get hit a million times and isn't a slot 1 unit, I don't like that either. And then in this day and age, any unit that doesn't have like a major defensive mechanic, guard, dodge, or damage reduction in their kit, I really don't like that either. So, there's things that I don't like about his kit, but let me wait until he's actually in game. But yeah, I just think it's just like, you know, we need to, if a unit releases in 2024, whether it's an Easy A or a Dokkan Fest, we need to hold them to the standard of 2024. And you know, that standard can be different depending on what level of release you are. Like a Dokkan Fest LR should be able to do everything. You should be able to tank supers, you should be able to tank normals, you should be able to support the team in some way. Like, you know, you need to be held to a high standard. Super Easy A Goku Black, he doesn't need to be held on that same standard. I would say if he can tank normals, and if he's like providing some sort of support to the team, I think that's all he needs to really be doing. But like if they come out with, you know, Super Easy A, I don't know, Int Janemba or something like that, and he sucks, like, we need to call it out. We don't need to cope for him because it's like, oh, well, you know, he wasn't runnable, and now he's like, he's still not really runnable. You guys kind of get what I'm saying? Anyway. Oh, and then that's attached. Dokkan should add burst mode sliders to every event and let players customize and upload different events in the game and share the settings with each other. And yeah, I have been saying this since before Sparking Zero dropped. You guys can probably find tweets where I've been saying stuff like this. I just think like getting the community involved with content is good in any way. So, you know, I always think of like Forge mode for Halo and stuff like that, and like how much longevity that's able to give a game, and it really does help fill in the gaps for the devs. That's what I'm saying down here, right? Is, you know, it's just, you know, we're basically going to go like 6 months between like major content drops usually on Dokkan. So just having like time in between where players could just, you know, set up like, oh, here's like the, I don't know, like here's the Super Boo event, but, you know, I ramped up the stats on it. You know, maybe they let you like change typings, because I have said that like I think they should add more to the burst mode sliders, like, you know, like add an inverse typings option to where like it flips every phase's like typing to something else or something, and just give you more access to being able to like customize events and then like upload them to like a community pool to where I could be like, all right, everybody, I've created the legendary Frieza event, but I've ramped up the stats so it's more in line with like the blue Gogeta event, right? And now he can like lock you, and this phase has an AoE now, and like I can change the typing so that it's more like toxic or something like that. I think just giving those tools to the players would be really good. And maybe it would take more pressure off the devs to release content as fast. I mean, they're still going to have to release content in order to give us rewards, but I think a lot of players could get longevity out of like, I tried the Truth DT's Ultimate Challenge run, you know, like here's how I did, and everybody could just like share, you know, things, and we could do like, you know, community like races and stuff like, okay, we set up this new event, everybody, you know, take your fastest team in and we'll see who beats it, and then you would have like the in-game records of like who got the fastest time in it, right? So I think that could be really cool. Dokkan has done a lot of false transparency since about Worldwide Celebration last year. They pretend like they're communicating info and interacting with us, but a lot of it is shallow and uninformative. Yeah, so I'm talking about like the roadmaps and some of the producers' letters here, where it's just like they're not really telling us anything. It's like, oh, here's the producer's letter. Oh, you waited a month for this, and then you read it, and it's just like nothing new. It's like, okay, thanks, Dokkan. You know, it's like they're doing a lot of this false transparency where it's like, guys, look, we're telling you everything. Here's our roadmap. It tells you nothing. You know, like that's... So... Oh, yeah, I miss V-Jump Leak Nights. Yeah, V-Jump Leak Nights were always really fun back in the day. You know, you'd hop on the 5-9 stream. They'd be streaming all night, you know, and then it's just like, oh, V-Jump dropped. We're getting a new, you know, Captain Ginyu, right? Like, those nights were always super, super hype. I miss that. Summoning for a specific unit to beat certain category missions is never worth it. Are you really going to spend 50 plus stones to earn 7 back? I just threw 7 out as like a random number. I feel like that's an average number that they give out for missions. Just build one team that can clear everything each year on the anniversary. Yeah. This is what you should do. If you want to win the game. Now, this kind of goes against my point from earlier about Battlefield, but both of those things can still be true, where, you know, you're going to be able to, like, if you just build one team that's competent, you're going to be able to clear a ton of events in the game. Like, you'll just be able to, right? Like, you'll get a huge ton of stones, and then you can kind of build up your box over time, and then that'll allow you to beat Battlefield, etc. But yeah, there's really, like, you know, they release a mission that's like, okay, the Majin Power mission for the Beast Gohan fight, right? It's like, oh, you know, I got to summon for Fat Boo in order to beat that. It's like, well, yeah, I mean, they have given out, like, other characters that help buff it, but, like, let's say, you know, the last character that you need to beat it is Fat Boo. It's like, you know, you could spend 50 stones and get him, but you could also spend, like, 5,000 stones and not get him. So it's like, are you really going to burn all of your stones that you've saved up when you could just summon for better units that are going to earn you more stones in the long run? Or are you going to be like, I've got to get that mission complete, and you're just going to go summon, and you're like, yes, I did it, and then you, like, net out, and it's like, okay, well, it took me 500 stones to get Boo, and I earned 7 from this mission. I feel pretty good about it. Do you feel pretty good about that? I wouldn't feel pretty good about that, but... Anyway, and then this is just like the final thing, is I'm just like a pretty chill guy. I don't really feel strongly about anything. At the end of the day, it's really funny when they screw around and do funny, dumb stuff that makes the community mad. Yeah, the shitness celebration was really funny a few years ago. Yeah, so I am kind of like the ultimate agent of chaos here. I think it's funny when Dokkan does dumb stuff. Like, any of this stuff, if you guys disagree on me with, like, that's cool. I'm not going to, like, fight tooth and nail for, like, any of this stuff up here. So that's kind of, I'm getting that qualifier out of the way, and then, like, I don't know, like, nothing in Dokkan ever makes me just, like, super furious. And I actually think it's really funny whenever they do dumb stuff and screw around. And then people get really mad about that, and they're like, oh, so you want the game to die? It's like, well, no, listen, the game's not going to die. We're going to recover. We're going to be fine, but... You know, whenever they do funny stuff like release Raditz, right, and he just sucks, like he is horrible. You know, like that's funny, all right? Like we can agree that that's funny and it makes the community like more engaging. I don't know. My final thought: if a friend system unit's hidden potential build is making you mad because it's the wrong build, it's not the friend's fault. It's Dokkan's for making a unit so reliant on a specific build. That's poor design. Yeah, I stand by that. You guys can, you guys can interpret that however you want, but, you know, and listen, I'm guilty of this. I am definitely guilty of this. You know, during the Worldwide Celebration, I was definitely, slandering a lot of, people for not giving Vegito Blue Dodge, but I do feel like that I was making it clear that it's like, this unit sucks. I have to run them. And they only work if they have dodge. Like, I feel like I wasn't necessarily, I mean, like, I was getting mad at the friend, but it's not their fault, right? Like, Dokkan, you should be able to build your characters however you want, and it should not be detrimental to how other people play the game. But unfortunately, Dokkan likes to release shitty units that it's just like, all right, well, if they're not dodging, they suck. And, you know, you need to squeeze every single point you can out of it because, you know, crits and additionals are not doing anything for those units. Or, you know, maybe dodge isn't doing anything for this unit. And, you know, someone built this in a way that I don't agree with. You know, it feels really bad. But a lot of the times my anger is never really directed at the friend, even though it may seem like it. It's more on Dokkan for making like a really, like a unit that's so reliant on a specific build. So anyway, guys, let me know what you think about this thread here. Let me know what you think about my Dokkan opinions. Again, most of these aren't really hot takes. Most of these are just like me getting my thoughts out on a lot of the stuff in the game right now. So let me know what your thoughts are on any of these topics. Let me know if there's any topics that I didn't cover in here that you'd like to know my thoughts on. Thank you all again so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Enjoy your summer, and I'll catch you guys next time.